Hello, Bob Van Rossum with MarketPro. Just learned earlier this week that I made a pretty big mistake about 6 months ago, right? So ultimately, it's about a year ago, and we had a very senior search CMO role, fantastic company, 200 people on the team, $600 million budget. I mean, it's the kind of dream job that lots of people want, right? Interestingly, we got that search because another search firm had it, and then they failed at it. So we end up with this search and we get to the final stage. We have two candidates, and really both were fantastic. Either one could have done the job. And the client said, look, if we don't hire this candidate, we're happy to turn around and make an offer to the other candidate, whichever direction we go. And the candidate who ended up in second place, she was fantastic, right? Very classically trained brand background, grew her career methodically every step of the way. Every move was smart and measured, high-level MBA. She was about 3 years in her first CMO gig, and we were trying to pull her out to this next level, bigger CMO gig. And wonderful individual executive presence, leadership. She had the entire package, right? So she finished as runner-up, but through that process, we built a very good relationship with her. And about 3 months later, she takes a CMO gig, not through us, but she takes a CMO gig with about a $9 billion organization, right? And so we're catching up. I'm congratulating on her new opportunity. And she goes, hey, I really want you to get back in touch with me about 30 days. I've got a VP gig that is going to be my right-hand person that I'm going to need your help hiring on. About 30 days goes by, and we play some phone tag, and then she texts me and says, hey, we decided to go in a different direction on that search. And so the mistake I made, right, was I made the assumption that because she was a candidate and that we had built a good relationship, she understood all the things that as a client and how we interact with them, what we're capable of and how we go through our process. And I didn't go through and share all that with her. I kind of took that for granted. And then she ends up saying we're going in a different direction, right? And so fast forward from there to, earlier this week, right? About 6 months have passed, and we're talking again. I said, hey, so tell me, how did that search go, right? Where are you in the process? And she's like, well, we just recently figured out that we weren't getting the candidates we needed. We weren't getting candidates in a timely fashion. And ultimately, we had to separate from the search firm, and now we're doing the search on our own. And we're starting to see better traction, right? So we're doing better on our own than we were with the search partner, which is a sad statement, but unfortunately all too common in the world of marketing executive search, right? The firm that they went with was one of the big five, what we call the SHREK firms. So Spencer Stuart, Heidrick, Russell Reynolds, Egon Zehnder, Korn Ferry. Those are the biggest five in our industry, all publicly traded, all have very good professional people within their organization. So I asked her, I said, tell me, what led to you kind of going down the path of that direction versus utilizing us, a boutique marketing executive search firm? And she said, well, what they told me was they had better access to talent because of their brand, because of who they are, than a boutique search firm would. And the reality is that's a very common sales pitch from all of those big five firms, right? And the reality is nothing could be further from the truth, right? So there's multiple issues with that. So the first issue is, if you're the biggest firm out there, Korn Ferry, you work with 40% of the Fortune 500. Well, everyone in our industry that's respectable doesn't recruit from their clients. So if you go in the direction of one of these big five search firms, their client base is so large that you've ruled out a lot of potential candidates just because they can't recruit them, right? And you can go with a smaller boutique search firm like us, and we don't have that challenge. Second thing is, we talk about the cachet and the ability for them to reach out to candidates because of their brand, right, is what they refer to it as. And the reality is they're big firms. They have very good, talented people, and they have other people who don't handle things as professionally as they should or need to based on who we are and the level of candidates that we're dealing with. Meaning, someone gets engaged in the interview process, they're not selected, and they never hear back from them. They never close the loop. They never tell them, hey, the client's gone a different direction. Or because they're not marketing specific, they don't really understand marketing, they'll reach out to candidates and say, hey, I've got this great job for you, and the job's nowhere close to a fit. We get candidates all the time say, hey, I got a call from this other search firm, and it's one of the big five, and they were offering me this role, and it doesn't fit their background experience at all, right? So all those things fit together mean they generally have less access to talent than someone like us, who are all experienced marketers, who understand how to message and talk to a marketing person about their career, what's a good next step in their career, and understand how to engage them in a conversation around that, right? Our response rates from candidates is way higher than search firms that are not specific to marketing, including and outside of the big five, right? And so we're able to engage on a level with more candidates than other search firms. And it's one of the reasons why, for the search we're talking about, right, we received it after it had already failed. And now this client is in a position, which is not our client, this candidate who was our candidate, is in a position where she can't go out to spend a second search fee, and she's having to do it on her own. And there's two problems with that, right? She's a new CMO who has been in the role for now almost a year, right? And she doesn't have time to do the search on her own. The search has been open for far too long, and that person's not there helping her grow the business, right? So all of those things look bad for her right now. Whereas if she had gone with us, the role definitely would have been filled months and months ago.